What's your I was a weird child story? In the 5th grade I had a bug house I brought to school every day. I would catch bugs and name them and keep them in the bug house for a couple of days. Then release the bugs and go find new ones. I also made friends with a hill in the schoolyard. I would talk to him and he would talk to me. That was probably my first schizophrenic voice. When I was little I used to talk to myself very openly and I had very engaging conversations. I always had to make sure no one could hear me. One day I was walking home and I was loudly pining over how beautiful the sunset was. As I was talking I turned my head and saw there was someone hosing down their porch behind me. He gave me the weirdest look and I just shut my mouth and quickly walked away. I still do this. Quite often when I'm driving to work I have to turn off the radio because of my irresistible need to engage myself in conversation. I was around 7 at the time, and my dad was at work and my mom had just left the room. Me, thinking I could do anything I wanted because they were both gone, decided that my best possible option to do something bad was swallowing a penny. Just told my mom this story a few days ago. If you swallow a penny, 7 years later a full-grown Abraham Lincoln bursts out of your chest, alien style. Oh gosh, my sister and I used to be mad scientists with our Barbies that we didn't like. Started with haircuts, ended with removing limbs and attaching them to places they didn't belong. My dad found us huddled by the stove, melting a Barbie's butt so we could attach her leg to it. We got in so much trouble for that. Walked in goose poop barefoot because it felt good. Observed a small rip in my pants knee, so kept ripping it until my pants were in 2 pieces. Then starting walking around. My parents had guests over. One day my mom went out the back door in the kitchen to do something. Can't remember for what. I was only 4 or 5, so I locked it. I proceeded to get out 2 sticks of butter, a very large knife, and a watermelon. Mom was freaking out but I told her she wasn't allowed inside yet. I cut the watermelon, absolutely horrid job, but somehow managed not to cut myself, smeared butter all over it, and then sat the slices on many paper towels I had laid on the floor, unlocked the storm door and invited mom inside to join my picnic. As a parent that's both incredibly sweet and pants-crappingly terrifying. One night at dinner I sculpted a woman out of mashed potatoes. She had red Spanish rice hair and a chicken skin bikini. She was reclined as though relaxing on a beach. When it was time to clean up, I claimed that it would be wrong on several counts to throw away mashed potato lady, and made several arguments about why she should be preserved. My mom, sensing a futile battle, allowed me to bag up mashed potato lady on a paper plate and stow her in the freezer, where she chilled for several years until we had to move. I tried to insist she was family and deserved to come to the new house with us, but somehow we came to the agreement that I could bury mashed potato lady in the backyard, and this was, I guess, agreeable to me. I got to dig a nice big hole and she was honored with a funeral attended by the whole family. Words were spoken at her gravesite. I was really proud of that sculpture. In my younger years I was a huge fan of Spider-Man. One day I pulled the rope that held my grandma's dressing gown around the stair banister. Now for some reason I guess I didn't trust my ability to hold on and truly swing like Spider-Man, so I tied the other end round my neck and swiftly proceeded to jump down the stairs. Fortunately my rope tying wasn't great, so I was only left with a burn covering my neck that was difficult for my mom to explain to school. And yeah, that's how it started. See Jurassic Park at age 5, about $15 with snacks. Pretend to be T-Rex every day for 1-2 years. Free. Realize as an adult that strangers and other kids frequently thought you were literally retarded. Priceless. Oh god, my family let me watch all Jurassic Park movies when I was little, on top of our close family friend owning a rock shop that sold like quartz and fossils. This resulted in about 8 years of being a small velociraptor, roaring, and walking on my toes, and the biting. I bit everyone. I still tend to walk on my toes. Apparently I had a trust everyone phase where I'd get up from a table at a restaurant, sit down at a table full of strangers, and strike up a conversation. At one point, I did it on an airplane. Apparently the lonely businessman thought that was the coolest thing and gave me some money for entertaining him. This was me as a kid. My dad did competitive weightlifting, so we traveled to a lot of events. and I figured out early on that the weightlifter's girlfriends thought I was adorable and could easily be conned out of snacks. I was in daycare at the time, maybe 5 or 6, and had a crush on this guy named Maximum. Well, so did this girl named Rebecca. I obviously hated Rebecca, so one day we were about to be released for recess or whatever, and for some reason I had to wait before I went out to play with everyone else. There was this one bucket that I always played with at recess. I decorated it with my own stickers. Everyone knew it was mine even though it was technically property of the daycare. When I finally got out to the playground, not only was Rebecca talking to my Max, but she was also playing with my bucket. I walked up behind her, grabbed the bucket, went into these little teepee things we had, pee in the bucket, then marched my little butt out and poured the pee on Rebecca's head. Then I burst into tears and my parents were called. I was a chubby toddler who ran with my arms behind my back. I was born to be a meme. I used to beg to take naps. Still do. My sister, on the other hand, has been a perfect princess since birth, save her odd childhood penchants for public restrooms. She insisted on visiting the bathroom of every place we ever went as a family. She would give us a full report and star rating afterward. My little sis was like the Yelp of public crappers. My sister was taking too long in the bathroom. I went to the garage, crap in a Ziploc bag, and put it in front of the bathroom door. Go to send a message. I have so many, but the one my mother reminded me of recently was that I used to eat ice cubes. I thought they were plain ice cream. My dad would put a couple of them in a bowl and I would sit outside and chow down on ice cubes. I still occasionally fill a cup with ice and eat it with a spoon. I ate paper. So much paper. My favorite was purple construction paper, but not the smooth darker kind, the lighter rougher kind, and lined loose leaf. Also Kleenex. Probably pica, or maybe I was just insane. I was probably 5 or 6 when this happened. One night when I was supposed to be in bed, I decided to crawl under my bed and look for any toys that had fallen under there. The next morning my parents found me asleep on the floor with just my legs sticking out from under my bed. I also used to spread my big tub of Legos out all over my bedroom floor and lay down in them and roll around. I also used to spread my big tub of Legos out all over my bedroom floor and lay down in them and roll around. You must be made of steel. My brother and I used to make towers out of the emergency food in the storage closet. This was mostly Spam, so we made Spam towers and would use army men to destroy each other's towers. After about a month of this, I demanded my mom throw out all my Barbies and only buy me Spam and army men for my birthday. Well, at least it was cheaper for her. My papa told me that a bee that was flying around us would bite me, so I should bite it first. Scared crapless, I bit it out of midair and chewed it dead. I still remember how disgusting it tasted and how surprisingly furry, and now I feel bad for killing the thing. My older brother used to blow up things, break things and rebuild them, or try to innovate our remote or our phone or whatever he could get his hands on. He is an aerospace engineer now. When I was 7 I made friends with a bee. I am very serious. I had very little friends and was kept socially isolated at home, so I spent a lot of time in my backyard. I recall there was a little bumblebee one time while I was picking flowers. I took one flower and let it sit in my flower. I petted the little bastard, and it was fuzzy but like not. Very odd sensation. I then put my flower down and walked away. The bee kept following me. It landed on my arm. I petted it again. It went off. I sat down on some rocks and just watched it go around to the nearby flowers. Then it would hover around me a little bit around my hands and arms, then go back. Eventually I went inside. Never saw the bee again, but I am truly convinced I made friends with a bee. Like a lot of girls, I had Barbies. Not just Barbie herself, but Skipper and Kelly and Tommy, and a couple Kens. I had a specific checklist that had to be completed before I could actually do any playing. 1. Remove clothes from Ken dolls. 2. Tie each Ken's arms behind his back. I have no idea where I kept getting the string for this. 3. Suspend Kens by their ankles from dresser drawer handles. 4. Tie Tommy's arms behind his back. 5. Wrap Tommy's face with string until it was completely covered. Blindfolding wasn't enough. His mouth and nose also had to be covered. 6. balanced Tommy across Ken's arms. After all this, I could start acting out little scenes with the Barbies and other female dolls. But the weirdest thing, to me, is that the tying up part wasn't part of the game. It wasn't playing. It was just something that had to be done before I could play. After I was done, I'd get the guys back down, untie them, and dress them. Then everyone went back into the storage box together. Apparently I tried to sell tissues for $10 a packet at my grandfather's funeral. Weird, for certain, but also a bastard little thing to do. I feel even more remorse and self-judgment now. Trump, the art of the deal. My brother and I used to take naps in the graveyard near the house. More than once. 3-year-old me during mass went up to the altar and sat in front of the church audience with my legs crossed and index and thumbs touching like I was meditating. Oh gosh, this reminds me of when I had a dinosaur toy as a child and brought it everywhere. It had a leaf that could wind up and made this annoying noise. As a kid I would go underneath the chairs and play with it, much to the dismay of my parents who tried in vain to get me to stop. I used to wipe all of my boogers onto the wall next to my bed until high schoolish. I was a weird child. I used to do this too. Stopped when I was about 12 though. In elementary school I absolutely hated using public bathrooms. I would hold my poop all day until I got home. One day while I was walking home from school I crapped myself. Yep. Unless it is an absolute emergency, home is the only place I can poop safely. I used to have funerals for the dead bugs I would find in my yard and invite my neighbors over to pay their respects and say a few words. Farewell, Aragog, king of arachnids, whose long and faithful friendship those who knew you won't forget. Though your body will decay, your spirit lingers on in the quiet, web-spun places of your forest home. May your many-eyed descendants ever flourish and your human friends find solace for the loss they have sustained. I made up something called the Blood Song and sang it to my family for Christmas when I was about 5. The lyrics went something like this. Are you bleeding? Are you bleeding? You're bleeding. You fell down the stairs and now you're bleeding. And then it just repeated, over and over. The Blood Song didn't have an ending. My parents thought that crap was hilarious. Also, I hated pants. My mom had to force me to wear pants. I don't mean I just wanted dresses. I mean I literally just ran around in my underwear. I had to stop my kids one time last summer. I'm working remotely and sitting near the door to the backyard. They walked past carrying various things. Extension cord, desk fan, life jacket, large bottle of lotion, several 2x4s, bungee cords, bedsheets, fire extinguisher. Somewhere around there I stopped them and said I don't even want to know, but seriously, no, whatever it is, no, apostrophe. I used to believe I had a tiny man living in my ear. I was looking forward to going to sleep and lay my head on my pillow, because he would start walking inside my head. I liked when he did that, it made me comfortable. I reached the age of 12 before I realized it was my pulse I was hearing. R.I.P. Tiny Ear Man. You have been visited by the snake of great corn. You will be blessed with corn for eternities to come, but only if you comment corn me up. Snake, if you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.